So yeah, I was filming in the apartment for the Smart Rider training manual. So the whole idea for the apartment is that you get your motorcycle delivered to your apartment or whatever, or you just got one, but you don't know how to ride yet. You don't have a permit. You don't, like, hopefully you go get a permit. I mean, it's just a written test in some areas. And I know 2 states you can't have a permit. You have to go straight to the MSF. But you have a motorcycle and you want to start practicing. Maybe you want to go just take the license, the permit, and the endorsement, all that stuff at the DMV. Okay, cool. So then what I was doing in the Smart Rider training manual is just, here we go. Here's motorcycle operation, just in the little stall. You're going to like understand the controls and everything. And then, hey, we're going to go ahead and now start paddle walking around the apartment a little bit until you feel comfortable putting your feet up. So we're doing friction zone throttle control. And we started doing some straight line weaves, some really wide ones in the road. And then the next step, because I like to break it up from paddle walking, first gear. Now we're finally in second gear. And so I'll show you guys how to shift into, I mean, you're obviously in first gear because you're doing friction zone, but how to pick your feet up, ride around, tight turns. We're doing U-turns. We're doing that straight line weave. And then we move on to shifting into second gear. So we're doing shifting, and now we're doing some Mercy swerving practice, very low speed, like 15 miles an hour, not much. And then braking practice, Mercy braking, because that's what the endorsement is on the test. It's just, all it is a tight, it's a straight line weave, tight turn from stop into a U-turn. And then, so that's 3 exercises. And then it's a Mercy braking, Mercy swerving. I get it. I know some of you guys that are watching this that are not from America are like, that's too easy. It's like, yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So for me, it's like, if you do want to go to the MSF and you want to spend 2 days basically learning that skill set, go ahead, have fun, because they provide the motorcycle, they provide the gear, they provide everything and instruction. Oh, and I donated blood today, a pint of blood. And that's cool. But I mean, if you're at home, you have a motorcycle, maybe you want to practice before going to the MSF. I mean, you could do that, or you could just go take the endorsement. Hey, Dave Wayne, $10 donation. I've been a faithful fan for 1 year so far, so I just made my last payment on my car today. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice. Now take that payment and you do the Dave Ramsey thing. Take that payment and pay off another debt, and then take those 2 payments and pay off another debt. Because you're already living without that payment. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's a Dave Ramsey thing. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Especially, I think the first month, go ahead and celebrate. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for the Smart Rider Training Manual. That's what I've been up to this week. Something that's come up. Now, like what I like to do at the beginning of these live streams is kind of just talk to you guys about a few things that I've learned this week. Because this is a learning channel. It's an educational channel. It's mainly for motorcycles, and I like to use motorcycles as a metaphor for basically like learning life. Because we talk about, and I'll say this like, a couple times here and there, but I'll just kind of jump into these because I would like to do this every week. Like learning itself, how to ride the motorcycle. I mean, you're brand new, you have these high expectations for yourself, you really want to get riding, all these things, but it does take time, it does take process, it takes failure, it takes you like, okay, I suck at this, okay, now I got to learn this, and it's perfectly fine. There's a lot of emotions and thoughts involved, but the main thing is you kind of stick with it and you stay consistent. But when it comes to motorcycling, I haven't seen the videos that we're going to be going over today. But we all see road rage in these videos. So we're going to talk a little bit about road rage, but the main one I want to kind of equate the motorcycle road rage and some of the emotions involved when people get angry to more of like I said, the life stuff. And I think it really just kind of comes down to expectations. And this is something that I'm getting a nice refresher on this week in my own life. Is as expectation, not just on yourself, but for other people. And so when we're out riding and we're going to see probably some road rage and people getting pissed off, is that a lot of people have expectations on others while they're on the road. So they're riding their motorcycle. I expect other people to do what they're supposed to do. Okay. And that's mainly to keep you safe, because if people are doing what they're supposed to do, you stay safe for the most part, right? We talk about plan, position for safety, locate hazards, all that stuff. So when you first start riding, the expectation is to put yourself in a position for safety and to locate hazards, okay? The plan method is really just focused on what it is that you can do. So you have an expectation on yourself to do what you can do. Having expectations on others to do what you want them to do is a form of control, and it's not healthy, and it causes negative emotions when things aren't happening. So when we're out riding and somebody kind of cuts you off, or we didn't recognize that the open lane pattern, or the side of the vehicle, there's a left turner doing this thing, and people are slamming the brakes and all this other stuff, like, we get pissed off, right? I mean, we all do. We get a negative emotion. I don't even like to call them negative and positive emotions. I just like to call them emotions. But we get an emotion that creates like a body response of anger or frustration or whatever. And that's because we expected these people not to do this. Something that I've been learning when it comes to like in the personal space is that that's not healthy, and the whole aspect of expectations on others, hopefully they can go away. But to replace it, because it's one thing to say, I'm not going to have expectations of others. It's more so, I'm going to observe what others are doing. And I expect myself to respond in a way that keeps me safe. So like the plan method, right? So observing other people making mistakes, observing other people doing the things that they're not, that you think that they should not be doing, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. You're going to have that emotion, but just observe and then act accordingly. Keep yourself safe. Setting boundaries, right? And so we're out riding motorcycles and we see somebody cut us off. Just observe it. What is it we're supposed to do? We're supposed to assess if it's a relevant threat and navigate an active one. Put ourselves in a new position for safety. That's it. And we're going to see some people doing some crashes or doing some road rage and whatnot, maybe even crashing and whatnot. But the main thing here is that when we have these expectations on other drivers to do what's right, we get this anger. We have expectations on friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. It can cause an issue for that person. It can cause you to get upset, when in reality we should just kind of observe and accept what's actually happening, and then do what we need to do to keep ourselves in a good position for safety. And so really there's like a lot of acceptance involved. Accepting that somebody's going to pull out in front of you, accepting that, there's a side of the vehicle they're going to pull out because they didn't see you, accepting that there's all these different reasons why people are causing issues for you on the road, and just saying, okay, I accept this. This is what's happening. What is it that I can do? And it really kind of comes down to the skill set. So a lot of people get upset because on the road, because they don't have the skill set of emergency braking or emergency swerving or maintaining good space cushion or paying attention, or not recognizing that these patterns are popping up over and over and over again, and then realizing, okay, for the future, when I recognize this pattern, this is what I'm going to do. So there's a skill set involved there. And so in the personal side, recognizing the same patterns over and over again, and is it something that you can accept? If it is, then you kind of have to let it go. You kind of just have to let it go, because you have the skill set of managing your own emotion. You have your skill set of setting a boundary, not something harsh, but just something easy. Sometimes just like walking away and not dealing with it, kind of getting over it. That's something that I've been but something that was a nice refresher. Something I knew a while back. I knew a while back, but it's a nice refresher, because new situations bring up what you lack and what you don't lack. And so with the road rage stuff, if all of a sudden you're starting to recognize that you're getting upset when there's road rage, it's a good test of your patience. It's a good test of your emotional regulation. It's a good test of your skills of recognizing the pattern and getting yourself out of the way. It's a good test of letting things go, offering grace and forgiveness. It's a good test for that, but you don't get tested unless you're out on the road. In relationships, not just with external, but internal. So your own relationship with yourself. It's a good test when a new situation pops up. And everything's a learning lesson of what you are accountable to and what you're able to accept. And it's a nice refresher. It's something that I think everyone's working on. It's just an interesting concept when it comes to road rage and the learning process. So with the Smart Rider training manual and everything we're doing here on the live stream, the main thing that I really want people to get is to have less expectations on yourself. I'm sorry, let's rephrase that. I want you to have expectations of yourself. Have less expectations of others. I want you to expect that you're going to learn. It's going to take some time. So we talk about sometimes SMART goals, so realistic in time for the R&T. Be realistic on it, because a lot of times the expectations a lot of people have, it's like, I'm going to get this done by the end of today, but you start working on it and you realize it's a 3-day thing. And then at the end of the first day, you get pissed off at yourself because you didn't finish it based on your original goal. So elongate your expectations. You're not perfect. You're not going to get everything done right. There's always going to be something popping up that's going to cause issues. And just, have expectations, but don't beat yourself up over it. When it comes to others, try your best not to have any expectations. There's definitely needs and wants that you have. But I think a lot of people turn, I want this, into I expect you to do this. And I think that it comes from a lack of being able to provide your own needs and wants, because you don't have the expectation for yourself. I don't know. I'm kind of going in circles here, but it's just a little thought that I've had when it comes to how does this apply to motorcycle riding, how does this apply to learning, how does this apply to relationships? Because when I talk about how I categorize and shape my own life, is I do stick to a mission, vision, value statement and virtue statement, and I focus heavily on physical, mental, and spiritual fitness, disciplines, health. And when things get tough, you're definitely tested in those areas to make sure you stay disciplined and stay motivated to continue doing it. And then you just learn from it, constantly learn from it. You make mistakes, you fail, you learn from it. But expectations, it's been a topic for me for about a week now. And it's not fun, because I think with road rage, when people expect, let's say, when the motorcycle rider expects the car driver to do what they're supposed to do, reacts in anger, and we've seen this where they'll go up to the driver and basically say, you did this, you're not supposed to do this. We never see the driver respond kindly, because nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. They know that okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but who are you to tell me what to do? And I think there comes a point when it comes to communication where it's more of hey, this is what happened, just letting you know, or don't even say anything. And we kind of get into the point of well, how are they supposed to know if you don't tell them? And that's a tough one. Because with car drivers and people on the road, who cares? That's how I kind of see it. They're strangers. They're absolute strangers. They have no importance to your life. No importance. You're never going to see them again. So why do you care if they improve? I get it. We all want society to improve and whatnot. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. But you guys are here on your own free will. And I see a lot of the same names. So it's hard. There's no real reason to do it for the road rage stuff, but that's when it gets hard, because when you're in an actual relationship with family and friends and boyfriend or girlfriend, or even a boss or a coworker, it feels like there's this team aspect to it. There's this, we're all supposed to kind of grow together aspect. And so you want them to learn. And I'm just kind of coming to the realization, because it's something I've already known. I just must have forgot, or it's been a blind spot for a little bit, is that it still doesn't matter, even with those personal relationships. You want to maintain the relationships, family and whatnot, parents and whatnot. But it really just kind of comes down to acceptance of who they are, and is that something that you're okay with, or is it something that you can learn to be okay with? And then what is it that you can do? What is it that you can do for yourself? What skills do you need to learn to manage that relationship? What's the skills that you need to do to manage riding in your area? Do you need to know better progressive braking and emergency swerves because your area is absolutely insane compared to some other areas? Would you rather move to a different area where there's less traffic? Would you leave a relationship for less stress? I don't know. There's so many ways you can use motorcycle riding as a metaphor for life. Hey, how you doing, Colin? Sometimes you need to educate people. I can get annoyed and yell on my bicycle, but if I catch them, I try to be calm and explain what I was displeased with. Yeah, and that's where you say you get annoyed and yell on your bicycle. So you have your emotions and thoughts, and then your behavior when you interact with somebody else, you try to be calm and explain. And that's a big thing. I'm doing good, Colin. That's a big thing because everyone like I'm not saying don't have the feelings of frustration, don't have the feelings of anger. It's just how's your behavior being applied to other people? There's plenty of stuff in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, when it comes to these three main points. And you have feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. Your behaviors can bleed into your feelings and thoughts. Your feelings can influence your thoughts, which can influence your behavior. Your feelings can go straight to behavior, which will influence your thoughts later of regret and a few things. So working out is a pure behavior. Maybe you don't feel like it, or whatever. It's like you go work out, all of a sudden you feel better. Now you start thinking better. If you feel like not working out, you start talking to yourself to not work out. Well, it could influence your behavior of actually not working out. You could be thinking I have so much to do. I really want to work out. I feel like working out, but then you choose not to because now your thoughts are telling your behavior not to do it, even though your feelings are aligned with the behavior you want. The main thing here that I've learned quite a bit from the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, in my own personal, is that at the end of the day, you can have whatever thoughts, you can have whatever feelings, but your behavior has to be something that is a positive. It just has to be. You can feel like absolute dog crap. You can feel angry. You can think negative thoughts. But your behavior needs to be positive. And it doesn't mean in an emergency situation where somebody's trying to kill you. It's like, hey, I'm really angry and I probably should defend myself, but I'm going to be kind. No, it's fight for your life. Be violent. But when it comes to that behavior, when I say positive, I'm not saying be a pushover, let people do these things. This is why I have that mission, vision, value, virtue statement. And so my behavior, I make sure at my absolute best, we're all failures. We all fail sometimes. I do my absolute best to make sure my behavior is in line with my mission, vision, virtues, and value statement. My values. My thoughts and feelings might fail against that like half the time, most of the time. But I try my best to make sure my behaviors stick to that. So it's really, it takes a lot of effort. It's much easier when you have something to look at and say, this is how I should act. And that's why we have the smart rider principles, when it's like, how should I ride a motorcycle? What kind of motorcycle rider should I be? I don't feel like it. I'm thinking about like not doing, like I don't want to wear gear. Like it's hot. I'm feeling hot. I'm thinking I should probably just wear a helmet and gloves. I know I have a jacket, pants, and boots too. And then now my behaviors, I'm out riding in the heat with just a helmet and gloves, with a t-shirt, shorts, and tennis shoes. Well, the smart rider principles say acquire and use personal protective equipment. So when you're having that difficulty and it's like, I don't want to do it, stick to the values, stick to the principles. Just do it. Because then you're creating a new habit of when you don't feel like doing something, you still do the right thing. And that's the things, you got to peg yourself to what the right thing is. And a lot of people don't have role models and mentors to tell them what the right thing is. And that's why I stick with Christianity for the most part when it comes to what I believe the right thing is. The Courage to Be Disliked is a great book that has helped me with a lot of controlling my emotions. I'll check that out. I don't think I've read that one. Yeah. So I just wanted to share the expectations when it comes to the road rage stuff. I wanted to share a little bit when it comes to that personal stuff. This is something that was just kind of been on my mind for the week. And it was a good refresher. There's some fail points on my end. So once again, taking accountability. It's like, all right, what can I do better? Kind of pulling yourself out of a negative cycle to bring yourself back in line with your values. I highly recommend you guys get some get your own values. So I'll just share mine real quick. I'll share mine. Let's see. Let's double check, make sure. Oh, that one doesn't have my virtues. There we are. And I'm working on a new one because things do change. So I'm going to read it out for you. So the mission statement: to live a life defined by purposeful action, moral integrity, and personal responsibility, where every decision and interaction is guided by a commitment to treating others with dignity and respect, embracing life's challenges with resilience, and seeking a deeper understanding of our role in the wider community and the divine plan. So this is like my own thing. This is like a vision for what I hope will happen if I do that. But mainly, and I pulled from different philosophies in Christianity. Autonomy and personal responsibility, universal dignity and respect, resilience and inner peace, compassion, forgiveness, and the virtues that will help me get to that. Integrity and honesty, courage and fortitude, reflectiveness and mindfulness, and love and service. So for me, whenever I'm having those feelings of frustration or anger or sadness or whatever it is that's going to make me act in that way, because I'm having those thoughts and now my behavior is going to act in that way. Before I act, I always try to look at this or try to remember it. So I want to build resilience, offer dignity and respect to the other person, value their autonomy, my own personal responsibility, compassion and forgiveness, being honest, having courage to actually do it. So that's where I'm trying to get at when it comes to the road rage stuff, because we're going to see some road rage stuff. But I just want to share that. That's been my week. I try to share something new every week when it comes to mental, physical, and spiritual disciplines. not just motorcycle riding.